Well, tell him from me, he's a sniveling little coward.
Coming on the show soon is the man that I believe to be the Andy Warhol of our time, i.e. an artist that tells America and the world how to see itself. It's Kanye West. Please, Lord, we might be having a conversation soon. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. Let me know if you'd be interested in a conversation between me, Kanye, and Andrew Tate simultaneously. And then I was thinking, wouldn't it be funny if we just called it something sort of relatively innocuous, like the Three Amigos, and like sort of wore those sombreros and sort of talked as if we didn't have really complex, difficult challenges to surmount. I know a lot of people have strong views on Kanye, and certainly they do on Tate, and indeed me. Why? I've like looked at YouTube a moment ago. There's some real strong views out there. Let's get into it straight away with this. Kanye went on fellow countryman Piers Morgan's show, but didn't stay for very long. Let's have a look. I know you guys may have watched.
I watch what you put out on X. You got 32 million followers, so you're one of the most followed people.
See, wait. Now look right now. You're not gonna take inches off my dick, bro.
I like how Kanye communicates. I like his body language. I like how he's sitting there. I like how he takes a social media metric and takes it to the most obvious and redolent and visceral measuring that a man might encounter. Inches off my dick. I mean, I'd be grateful if there were inches available to take off mine.
Like, how many followers do I have?
Well, how many is it?
I think you could do the study. You got a whole staff over there.
I thought it was 32 million. How many is it? You obviously know.
I mean, no. I mean, don't help them out. You know, they.
I'm told it's 33 million now. So congratulations. You're slightly bigger following than I thought.
No.
Piers is being a little antagonistic there, isn't he? Even though I'd say that it's a sort of a marginal distinction. I don't know, where do you register your own? I guess the whole culture cares about social media following, doesn't it? And I suppose, does Piers Morgan seem like he's being cool here, or does he seem like he's trying to ag Ye out?
No, congratulations, your information is correct. You're not just some, dude trying to sub. I'm a gift, bro. You know what I mean? Why do all you people in media act like you haven't played my songs at your weddings or graduations or at funerals or when your child was born? You take somebody that's living like a Lennon, a Michael Jackson, and you just take all this time to just like that nuance right there. It's idiotic. It just shows the hate that you put out for people that put love. There's so much love in the art that I put out.
What are you talking about? I haven't said anything.
What are you talking about? It's dirty. Okay, now you're not taking accountability or responsibility.
You said it. You implied I haven't played your music. Of course I played your music.
No, sir. This is what you get for now. We can circle back when you can count.
Okay.
I reckon what that might have been is that Ye was not totally down with doing that interview in the first place. And when he heard the general timbre and tone of Piers Morgan, he became antagonised. And maybe his worst suspicions of how that was going to go down were confirmed. I feel like I've been in that situation, not exactly that, but kind of compromised and not into it and enjoying it. Remember, I feel that Kanye West is the Andy Warhol of our time, where Andy Warhol introduced to us the idea that celebrity was a form of commodity by reducing ad infinitum images of Marilyn Monroe and Elvis Presley to show to us that really these people that are reveling in specialness that we hold up as new icons and new gods are actually just commodities. Or as a friend of mine once said, whenever you see a billboard of yourself, remind yourself that in fact that's simply there because people are making money out of you, whether it's a can of Campbell's soup or Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. Apparently unique people, they're just kind of commodities. Now, Kanye, when he dresses up in the outfit of a Klansman, asks a lot of questions of us and uses interesting images to create a kind of tension and a friction. And like he himself says, he's created in his lifetime a lot of cultural artifacts that people really value and care about. And I think that the Kanye story is interesting because someone that's been at the white heat heart of celebrity culture is now a kind of maligned outlaw within that culture, but still apparently too big to cancel and entirely condemn. And I reckon when we look back at the sort of fractures that will continue, I reckon, to bifurcate, we'll see that Kanye West was one of the early figures that straddled both divides and told us which way the wind was blowing. In a sense, Trump defines it politically. Who defines it more than Kanye West when it comes to celebrity, i.e. the world is changing, media is changing, the way that we receive ourselves is changing. Normally what happens in the culture is when there's a peripheral movement like hip hop or punk, the mainstream can accommodate it and incorporate it and sell it back to us, commodify it, homogenize it, sanitize it. Kanye, it's weird, isn't it? Because he's come from the outside, gone to the center of the culture, and now he's departed again. And the culture doesn't know where it's supposed to situate Kanye. If they could, they'd probably kill him, I reckon. But that's just what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat. Sneako, who's his mate there and also a significant streamer and successful person in his own right, I think himself subsequently walks off. Let's have a look.
What do you want to hold me accountable?
If you don't want to answer questions either, you are free to stand up and walk away like a little sniveling.
Well, you can ask questions.
Too.
If you have questions for me, then I'll feel free to answer
Here's my
those.
question for you. Why is your mate Ye?
Is this whole thing going to be interrupting, or is this whole thing just going to be interrupting? Do you want me to speak at all?
You're sounding like Andrew Tate Light, like his annoying little younger brother we never knew about. Okay, doesn't work with me. Okay, you set this thing up. It's obviously some kind of elaborate prank.
Okay, your team asked me to do this. If you want to be Netanyahu Light on TV,
given you want to,
if you want to be Dave Portnoy with the suit,
that's fine.
Then sure. If you want to do ad hominem attacks, then why invite someone on your show? I set this up because your team asked me to do it. I did everything that I could. If I knew that this would, I'm not here wasting your time. You're angry at me for setting up an interview that you wanted. If you have questions for me, I'm happy to answer those.
Here's
if you
my
want
question.
to keep doing insults, there's no point in me being here.
Why did Jay stand up like a sniveling little coward and walk away before I could ask him difficult questions?
For the third time, Piers, I don't know if you have a hearing problem, but I'm not going to answer questions on another man's behalf. But
really?
Thank you for
Even
having
though
me.
you set up the interview with him
another time, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, tell him from me he's a sniveling little coward. And he's an anti-Semite and a Hitler worshipper.
Well, it's a really interesting culture now, isn't it? Our culture is a kind of argument. That's what our culture is. Has it always been that? Has it always just been an unpleasant argument? Was it this when Elvis got big, or when the Beatles got big, or when the Sex Pistols got big? Just an argument between emergent cultural forces and establishment cultural forces. And where do those lines lie now? In the last election campaign, when Oprah Winfrey lined up with Kamala Harris and we saw all of those celebrities, I thought, the world has changed. It's changing because this seems irrelevant. What seems more relevant is that Rogan has had Trump on and that Tucker is endorsing Trump and that Theo Von has had Trump on. The world is changing. The pantheon is changing. Do you see that even the institutions themselves are starting to alter? Maybe not so much in a country like mine, the UK, where the establishment roots are so deep catacombs, deep subterranean caverns. But in your country, it's radically altering. New types of celebrity, new type of discourse, new type of rhetoric, whether it's sort of OnlyFans models or Instagram stars or YouTubers or streamers. There are new categories and classes of celebrity, but also now we have the interesting spectacle of people at the pinnacle of fame, and Kanye West is one of that sort of 2 to 5 people that know what it's like to be at the absolute zenith, reordering and reorganizing. As I've said to you before, someone like Leonardo DiCaprio is one of the world's most famous people. His position is not going to alter. He's safely ensconced institutionally. It seems that Kanye West is a true artist. I'm not saying that to diminish Leonardo DiCaprio. I love his movies. But I'm saying that an artist, in a sense, makes people challenge their perceptions of what is real, what is moral, what is ethical, what is funny. All these questions are brought to us by the artist, and Kanye West is certainly doing that. Free speech is under attack, mine particularly, yours and everybody's, whether it's British government officials demonetizing people on YouTube, putting people in jail for Facebook posts, or the various other ways the nefarious systems and institutions that work, I reckon, for Satan drag us down into the pit. We have to fight back. And how are we going to fight back? Rumble. When major advertisers conspired to pull their dollars like Dunkin' Donuts, they said that Rumble had a right-wing culture. Well, that can't be true. Let's have a look at just some of the posts here. I come on here just to look at men in tight-fitted denim hot pants. That's from Don Trump Jr. All in the Rumble chat. This is a free speech conduit where you're free to be whoever you want to be. It's all available to you in the Rumble chat. For a limited time, you can get 10 of your American dollars off, and you can use crypto, baby, using the promo code APAC. No, using the promo code BRAND. Visit rumble.com/brand and get your discount today. Together we can turn the crimson tide of foaming propaganda and stay free together. Click the link. Here he is in his own words.
All right, so I had this vision of performing Hail Hitler at the Grammys wearing a swastika t-shirt and crying because we broke down all the walls of censorship, to break down all of the woke and the Me Too and the cancel and all of these ideas between all of the tweets and the songs and the music, and really, you know, all the threats, the threat of death, the non-threats on money and cutting off the finances, and all that happened. That we went through this war to like really fight for our freedom as artists, because you can't be artists if you can't tell the truth. You're no longer an artist anymore. You're now a commodity. You're a slave. You have to say exactly what you're thinking, and by you saying exactly what you're thinking, that's how the universe moves forward. God puts these ideas in our head that we have to blurt out. I've been looked down and should have upon so many times by control people for just saying what I actually felt, even though there are a lot of people that felt very similar to that. So to just be able to have these 3 words, nigga, hell, Hitler, to finally put it in 3 words that you wouldn't see together, and to have been blessed to channel the greatest song that's been made to date.
So in a way, what he's offering is a challenge to our assumptions, an attempt to blow through censorship, a comment on the fact and the idea that censorship always benefits the powerful, that it's always a tool of oppression. Now, look at these arguments and contrast it with this new, there's a new 12-foot bronze statue of a woman in Times Square. Remember the season of pulling down statues, whether it was Saddam Hussein in the middle of Baghdad, or Confederate statues being pulled down across America, or even in my country, attempts to pull down the statue of Winston Churchill. A celebrity is the way a culture tells stories about itself to its population. So are literal icons and idols like statues. Just hold in your mind what Kanye West was saying there about censorship, iconoclasm, and let's think about what the artist's intentions would be behind this statue.
And communicate those inner worlds that we have, and sometimes we misinterpret with one another, to try and create an understanding and basically encourage empathy.
I have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lead.
That's a British artist talking about how we should not overlook a frequently and certainly historically maligned portion of society, the female, and in this instance, the black female. Now, looking at it through the lens of history, it's difficult to deny that black women have had a pretty hard march. You'd have to be racist not to admit that. But if you admire this particular piece of iconography and implicit iconoclasm, i.e. an attack on who is it that gets statues, it's not just George Washington or Jefferson or General Lee or even Einstein, it's, as I understand from what the artist appears to be saying, a somewhat anonymous black woman. It's not a black woman that's like done anything extraordinary except through being a black woman. And I suppose his point is that that's an extraordinary thing given oppression, etc. Contrast that with what Ye's saying. As an artist, he's saying censorship, control, racism, Nazi, the N-word, words that are potent and powerful have to be addressed, brought to bear, and disentangled and decoupled in our culture. I can't do that. As a white person, I can't start bandying the N-word around. Andrew Tate can maybe say it because he's a man of mixed heritage whose father's black. Yeah, he can say it for obvious reasons. And in a way, it's a conversation we need to have because we live in a time defined by debate, conflict, division, where even diversity, which could be a popular, a helpful idea, certainly variety is an important cultural idea, is used to divide people. Diversity brings, it seems, division rather than unity. So if you think that that sculpture is a good idea, like, i.e., why don't we celebrate that which is often ignored, then you have to recognize that art has a function and that the function of art is to have difficult conversations. So I would say, yes, have a statue, a 12-foot statue of an anonymous woman to bring attention and light onto the plight of those that are often marginalized and maligned. But by that same mentality, you have to celebrate voices like Ye's, true artists that are willing to get into very, very difficult situations in order to tell the truth. Without truth, there is no art. Other than that, you're just involved in advertising. But that's just what I think. Why don't you let me know what you think in the comments and the chat? If you're watching us on X or YouTube or any of those places, make your way to Rumble and Rumble Premium. Let me know in the comments and chat if you would like to see a conversation between me and Ye and tell me what you're interested in us doing as we continue to rebrand, excuse me, you think I'd know how to say that word, and reboot the show under considerable external pressure.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more uncensored content where free speech can flourish, join our live stream. Click the link right here to watch the next video if you want to, or become a member of a growing movement. Download the Rumble app and you'll be informed every time we make a new piece of content. Stay free.